Hey, folks, so glad you could be here with me today. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day, as always. I am Dr. Joe Esposito, and today we're going to talk about healthy foods, I put that in quotes, that are really bad for you. And this is a big issue that happens in my practice. Is patients come to me all the time, and I say, well, Dr. Joe, I eat a really healthy diet. And I'll say, really? Let's write down everything you eat for a couple of days, and let's see if that's true. And inevitably, I look at their diet. Not inevitably. I shouldn't say that. Every now and then I'm surprised. Patient comes in, they write down what they eat. What they think is healthy really isn't. So I want to talk about some of what you might think is healthy, kind of blow away some misconceptions you may have, because my job is to naturally get you well and keep you well. I want to get you healthy, and without that information or that knowledge, you wouldn't know that. Biggest complaint I get from patients is, why didn't I do this sooner? And a lot of times because you didn't know. So, a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one, there was a craze a while ago, and some people are still hung up on this thing, and it's low fat. And this drives me insane because the body needs fat. Your brain uses fat in the form of cholesterol, but this is good cholesterol. Your nervous system needs it. Fat is actually a good thing, and when you cut fat out of your diet, it's actually a very dangerous thing to do. So what happens is manufacturers remove fat, and they say fat-free or low-fat, and you're thinking, oh, this is great. There was even a Seinfeld episode, I remember, caught it the other day, and it was about low-fat yogurt. And they were saying, oh, this is so good, it can't be low-fat, it can't be low-fat. And it turns out it wasn't low-fat because it tasted so good. But what manufacturers do is they'll say, wait a minute. If we take the fat out, we got to make this tasty. So what do? They try to flavor up these foods with something else, and that usually involves sugar. So put it another way, low-fat or fat-free almost always translate into high-sugar foods. Studies show sugar damage include impairing collagen fibers. Now, I'm a chiropractor. I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, double board certified in nutrition. That's 5 board certifications. BS in nutrition, award-winning author. My shows are heard around the world. And so I look at your health a little differently than a lot of other doctors do. And not what they're doing is wrong. We just look at it a little differently. And one of the things we look at is how can we get the nervous system and the structure of the body healthy? Because I believe the missing link in healthcare is structure. We all keep trying to address the symptoms. I have headaches, I have neck pain, I have back pain, gas, bloating, diarrhea, romantic issues. And we can give you a pill, and many times that helps the problem. And I'm not against that. However, you never get to the cause. The cause of a lot of the problems is structural issues. So you have connective tissue. It kind of binds everything together. Ligaments, tendons, muscles can be, I guess, considered connective tissue there. There's fascia around the muscles. And this supports your spine. Now, the way the body works is your brain sends messages down your spine, out your nerves to every cell in the body. So if the bones twist out of place, they can pinch nerves. One of the reasons the bones twist out of place is because the structure, the connective tissue, is not strong. And if you're eating a lot of sugar, it can impair what's called the collagen fibers. So they can't repair. And now we have a problem because you create something called advanced glycation end products. And if you take the first letters of those words, advanced glycation end products, AGE. So it's a pretty interesting acronym. Now, that can affect wrinkles in your skin. Of course, we look at there's connective tissue that holds your skin tight to your body. And when you're young and as you're a child, you have a really tight connective tissue. And then as you get older, the connective tissue starts to wrinkle because it breaks down. If you're eating a lot of sugar, you're creating a lot of advanced glycation end products, essentially speeding up the aging process. So just because you're eating something that's fat-free doesn't mean it really is good for you. In fact, it's usually bad for you. And so what you want to do is skip those low-fat snacks and go to healthy fats, adding fat to your diet, things like avocados. If you're going to do nuts, raw is good. But if you need to do them cooked, I eat cooked nuts too sometimes. But nuts and seeds are going to be great sources of fat. Coconut oil is an excellent source of fat. And another thing too, we're on the fat-free craze here, fat-free salad dressings. If you have a fat-free salad dressing, you can't absorb vitamins A, D, E, and K without fat. So you're eating a salad thinking you're doing something good and something healthy, but in reality, you're not absorbing a lot of your minerals, vitamins, I should say, because you don't have any fat. So adding fat to your diet is a good thing, not a bad thing. And so don't fall for these fat-free or low-fat foods. It's really it's a marketing scam. And I'm sure some people may believe it's true, but the evidence clearly shows that that's not the case. And that goes for even things like milk. Now, I don't drink milk. I haven't had any animal products in over 30 years. I'm not asking you to be a vegan. I was a guest on a friend of mine's show the other day, and she said, "You're not the obnoxious vegan. I really like that about you. You're not," because so many people like throw it in your face. "Oh, you're eating animals." Hey, what you do is up to you, but what I do should be up to me too. A little funny story. Many years ago, somebody set me up on a blind date, and so we go out to dinner, and the girl was a veterinarian. And so there was no love connection there. It was obvious from the start this was a nice girl, but not, I used to date a girl. She said, he was a nice guy. He wasn't my nice guy. So this girl's a nice girl. She wasn't my nice girl. And so she told my friend who set us up, she said, I can't go out with him anymore because he's a vegetarian. And I thought, I don't care what you eat. Why should you care what I eat? And I thought that was a really strange reason to do that. And I thought, and plus you're a veterinarian. I'm not eating your customers. You should be very happy with me. But I digress. I don't eat animal products. What you do is up to you. If you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. And what I mean by that is if you understood what happens when you put animal products in your body, chances are you wouldn't eat them either. Thinking about my favorite foods. People said, it doesn't matter, what would be your favorite food? I said a meatball sandwich, Parmesan cheese, and a nice crunchy Italian bread. I enjoyed that when I used to eat meat. I enjoy beef goulash. My mother used to make that for me, and sauerbraten. My mother was German. So sauerbraten is pickled meat. It's pickled brown gravy. Anyway, it's great. So I enjoyed those foods. But once I learned what they do to my body, I can't put them in my body anymore. I'm just not allowed to do that with, knowing what I know. So if you're going to drink milk, I don't recommend you drink skim milk. One of the largest and longest studies of women's health, it's called the Nurses' Health Study. It looked at 77,761 nurses over 12 years. They're very specific here. Those who drank more milk as teenagers had higher risk of severe teenage acne than those who drank less. Skim milk was worse than full-fat milk. So you would think skim milk better. Not the case here just for acne, and I'll tell you other reasons why as well. Now, milk has a sugar in it called lactose. We as humans don't produce an enzyme called lactase to break down lactose. ASE means it's an enzyme, and enzymes break things down and reassemble things. So if we don't have lactase to break down lactose, the sugar now could cause allergic reactions. That's why so many people are allergic or have reactions to milk. And so we have lactose-free milk. Still bad because it still has casein, which is a protein, which we don't have the enzyme called renin as adults to break down casein, and so we can have allergic reactions there as well. So we got to be careful with sugar. But back to fat-free and this whole point that I'm trying to make here. Besides the lactose, researchers surmise that the presence of hormones and bioactive molecules in the milk might have created adverse skin conditions. So it's a lot more than just the sugar. So when people say, I can't drink milk, I'm lactose intolerant, well, everyone's lactose intolerant to some degree or another. And so because it's a sugar, it's truly not an allergy. It's a sensitivity. An allergy would be a protein, the body reacting to a protein. But I digress again, being technical here. So I wouldn't drink milk no matter what. An easy trade for cow's milk is coconut milk or almond milk. If you're going to start doing this, I would say try the ones that are not unsweetened. So the regular ones, the original ones, because it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor, coconut milk and almond milk, but neither does cow's milk, if you think about it. So try the regular ones first, see if you like it. If you like it, then you can go to the unsweetened. If you want to be brave, go right to the unsweetened. But what I do is I use coconut milk and almond milk exclusively. Well, I use nut milks exclusively. I don't do any animal products. And I like to mix something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source in with it. And the reason is, if you don't know what Super Greens and Essential Source are, let me back up. I know we have new listeners all the time from around the world. Years ago, somebody came to me and said, what would you consider the world's best supplement? And I said, if somebody could take fruits and vegetables and put them in a pill, we would have the world's ultimate supplement. And so I did, and we created Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And so they're powders. I take a scoop of each, have it sitting right here in the studio with me right now. And stuff's amazing. I mean, I don't know how I lived my life without it and how much better my life could have been Had I created these things when I was, 1 year old, it would have been great. But it's great for kids. It really gives you all the nutrients you need to get through the day. And it helps the brain. It helps the immune system. Alkalizes the system. Most of us are too acidic, so we alkalize the system. It's really amazing supplements. But I use coconut milk or almond milk. I put it in a jar and I shake it. The reason is it doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it, so it doesn't dissolve like a lot of the commercial junk foods do. So you got to shake it up a little bit. That's okay. It's actually a good thing. It's kind of like if I'm in a grocery store and I see bugs, around the fruits and vegetables. I said, well, it means that it's good for the bugs. It's good for us. And it's scary when things are so sanitized that the bugs won't even eat it. Now, I don't like the bugs. I won't eat the bugs, but it's telling us that something's fresh. Once again, I digress. Super Green's an essential source. Just amazing. I'd recommend you can order it, on an ongoing basis, but at least give it a month. Take it every day for a month. I take it twice a day. If I have a date, if I'm going to do radio shows, if I'm going out doing big lectures or TV appearances, I'll take it twice. But the stuff is great. That's on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or you can just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world. Vegetable oils. We're talking about healthy foods that aren't. And some of you get duped by advertising. Vegetable oils, you'll hear them say, oh, it's a vegetable oil. It must be good for us. Vegetables are good, and so I guess vegetable oils are good. Now, there are some fats you need to avoid and some fats you need to put in your body. So we said extra virgin coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil. These are all good things. But if you're starting to do vegetable oils, they have something in it called omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. They are things like corn oil, soy oil. They're kind of abundant in the Western diet, and they really increase your risk of heart disease. Because what happens is, in your body, you should have a balance between omega-3s and omega-6s. You should have one omega-3 to one omega-6 in a perfect world. Most people, if you go up to 6 omega-6s to one omega-3, is still good. Most people in America have about 20 omega-6s to one omega-3 in their diet, molecule for molecule. And so what that does is it causes an inflammatory reaction. And this inflammation causes some real serious problems, like heart disease. Every disease known to man has an inflammatory component. And as a chiropractor, my job is to get you on an anti-inflammatory diet, not a pro-inflammatory diet, because you're counteracting what I'm trying to do. We try to realign your spine, take the pressure off the nerves, get the body healthy again. And I don't want you fighting me. That's why every patient that comes in our offices, we do a nutritional analysis with, because we want to try to find out how we can get you well. We want to get your nervous system working, your digestive system working, and your diet straightened out. And if we can get those three things, now we have a healthcare plan. Most of you have health insurance. Very few of you have a healthcare plan. Get the difference? And that's what drives me nuts about the argument in politics. We need to put together a better healthcare system. They're not talking about a healthcare system. They're talking about an insurance system. And after being in practice 32 years, I've seen everything from good insurance to bad insurance to what we have now, which is almost no insurance. One of my friend's wives has cancer, and he only has one wife, so. But he says, I spend two-thirds of my day fighting with insurance companies. They're saying that the treatment my wife is receiving is not necessary. He said she has cancer. If she doesn't fix the cancer, she's going to die. How much more necessary can something be? And yet the insurance companies get away with murder, literally, for not going to pay the bill. There's only 3 major insurance companies anymore, by the way. If you think about it, there's only 3 major ones. And so they're like, we're not going to pay it. So, hey, I'm a capitalist. They want to do their thing. That's fine. You then need to take control and take responsibility for your own health. You have control of the food you put in your body. So why not make good choices? And by the way, if you make good choices cheaper than what you're doing right now, you live longer, you feel better, it's good for the environment, you have more energy, love life improves, lose weight. Why wouldn't you want to do this? And the answer is, I don't know. I think you should. So why don't you consider that? Getting some good food into your diet and getting the bad stuff out, one of them being bad oils. So these inflammatory oils can make a mess of your skin too, and so many people come in with skin conditions. Every skin condition I've ever seen in 32 years of practice has some type of link to the liver. And so if we can get the body healthy, that gets the liver healthy, which helps the skin conditions. It's fun. I've had people I work with here at the station. I've worked with them for years now. And it's so great when I get stopped in a hall and they'll say, Dr. Joe, every time I listen to your shows, I learn something new. And I've known you for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I mean, not people at the station, but even friends. People I've known, for great best friends. We hang out together constantly. They'll say, every time I listen to the show, I learn so many new things that I never knew before. And so I want you to think that it's real easy when you understand the basis. The basis is a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. So, folks, if you have a healthcare problem, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, acid reflux, heartburn, nutritional issues, I would like for you to give us the opportunity to be your doctors. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. If you'd like to make an appointment, and I think you should, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll set you up a time to come see us. We accept everyone with insurance, and then depending on what it covers, we work with the patient from there. So I wouldn't worry about the money. I'd worry about your health, because without the health, nothing else matters. And it's relatively inexpensive anyway, so you're not going to lose your mind when you see what it costs. And again, every case is different. But go to my website to make an appointment, drjoeesposito.com. If you've ever been in a car accident, the car was damaged, you were damaged, 100% of the time. So we'd like the opportunity to work with you, because so many of you are suffering needlessly. And again, the biggest complaint we get is, why didn't I do this sooner? So stop suffering now, right now. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and just Google Dr. Joe, and you can book an appointment online. The phone number's there. You can call us if you have questions. We'll get you set up as soon as possible. Bring your friends, your family, and your children. If children have straight spines, they grow straight. If they're crooked, they grow crooked. drjoeesposito.com. So we continue talking today about health foods that really aren't. So we covered milk. We covered fats. We talked about the vegetable oils that have omega-6 fatty acids. So go with extra virgin olive oil. Go with coconut oil. Avocado oil. Make better choices. Wheat bread. This is another one. This one drives me nuts. People come to me and say, well, Dr. Joe, I only eat whole wheat bread. Doesn't matter. It's still junk. It's just a different kind of junk. Manufacturers know that whole grain goodness triggers what we call the halo effect. La, la. But that's simply a marketing term that conveniently overlooks the damage that bread does to you. And the big buzz now is gluten. You've probably heard the word gluten. Gluten is a protein. It's found in wheat, barley, and rye. And it's very difficult to digest. We don't have the proper enzymes as humans to break it down. And then, in recent times, in the past, say, 30 to 50 years, we've produced higher gluten breads. We've hybridized wheat. Remember the song, Amber Waves of Grain? Well, talking about these long grains, long wheat grains blowing in the breeze. Well, guess what? Wheat isn't tall like that anymore. Wheat is now short because we've hybridized it to make us produce, when you're growing something, you use a lot of energy to grow the stem and the leaves. If we can make it shorter, we can put all that energy into growing the kernels and not wasting it, so to speak, on the stems and the leaves. So we've hybridized wheat to be short, and in the process, we've created a much higher gluten content. And gluten gets into our intestines, and our immune system attacks it. Our immune system doesn't know what it is, so it attacks it, and that causes an inflammatory reaction. Everyone has some type of reaction to eating traditional bread. Some people more than others. If you have celiac disease, you could die from eating something like wheat. If you're wheat sensitive, you might have gas, bloating, feel heavy, brain fog. I do that. Every now and then, some reason, I'll have a piece of bread. It's usually I go about 6 months or a year. I haven't had any bread, and I think, I can have some bread now. I think I'm doing really good. And inevitably, the bloating, the love handles pop up. I feel heavy. My sinuses start to run. Can't do it. And this is one of the problems. I'm going to give you a warning. When you start getting healthy, it's kind of hard to go backwards. So just prepare yourself for that. So wheat bread, not a good idea. Estimates show that as many as 30% have non-celiac gluten intolerance. Other studies link numerous problems, including psoriasis, to gluten intolerance. Whenever I have somebody with psoriasis or eczema, I say, listen, let's do this first. Let's check your spine, because as a chiropractor, of course, I always want to make the nervous system working. And then I'll say, let's do this. Let's get you off all wheat and all dairy for 60 days. Not a bite, not a nibble, not a sip, nothing. And almost 100% of the time, I can't think of a case that it hasn't happened, patient comes back in, or the regular chiropractic patients, I see them on a regular basis, and they start to say, Doc, look at my skin, it's clearing up. Doc, look at this, it's getting better. Doc, look at... Inevitably. And then some think they know more than me, and they do what? They start eating more dairy and some wheat, and guess what? The problem comes back. And they go, you were right. I'm like, yeah, I know I was right. I wasn't kidding you, was I? So we got to be careful about that. I would recommend cutting out the wheat. And the thing that nobody seems to talk about when it comes to wheat, everybody talks about gluten, is that it's a sugar. The wheat kernel has bran around it, which is fiber. And then it has something called the endosperm, which is essentially all sugar. And then the germ. And the germ is where all the nutrients are. The wheat germ has the vitamin E in it and the other nutrients. So we take out the germ because you can't have oil because the oils will go bad and go rancid. So we want the flour to last a long time. We take the bran out because that doesn't make it as easy to chew. It takes away some of the taste. And so now we have the endosperm, which is essentially pure sugar. So if you're eating a piece or two of bread, it's like literally eating tablespoons of sugar. And sugar, of course, weakens the immune system. In my new book, Prescription for Extreme Health, we cover that pretty extensively on how you could weaken the immune system dramatically, where one immune cell can attack many pathogens, viruses, germs, bacteria. And if you drink the amount of sugar in a can of soda, it can only kill off one pathogen before it dies. So we've exponential, like 14 times weaker immune system just by eating sugar. And so when you're sick, you certainly want to stay away from sugar. But you should stay away from sugar all the time so that you don't get sick. See how that works? It's pretty cool. So stay away from all bread. What kind of bread, Dr. Joe? There is no good bread. I'm Italian. I wish I had a good answer for you. I wish I could tell you, yes, this is a better choice. If you have to do bread, and there's actually some benefit to this, I'd recommend you do gluten-free bread. A couple of things happen with gluten-free bread. Number one, it doesn't have gluten. And number two, it doesn't taste that good. And if it doesn't taste that good, you're not going to eat as much of it. Because if you're a sugar addict, like a lot of people are, you got to break the addiction. Because sugar stimulates the pleasure centers in your brain, the dopamine receptor sites, releasing dopamine, and you're getting high. And bread is just like eating plain old sugar. So breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, along with regular sugar, you got to cut those things out. So you think you're eating a whole wheat bread, you're really not giving yourself any health benefits. Because we're talking today about health foods that really aren't and how you've been duped into that. And if it says whole wheat, they take the whole wheat kernel, the bran, the endosperm, the germ, and grind it up. If it says made with whole wheat, see the difference there? Whole wheat versus made with whole wheat. It only has some whole wheat, and the rest is just plain old white flour. So bread isn't good. Gluten-free, at least it's a step in the right direction. But what's going to happen is this. You cut out your wheat and your dairy, which are the two, number one and number two, dairy number one, wheat number two. Cut those out of your diet for a week or two. Put them back in, you're going to see a change. You're going to feel the bloating and the gas and the diarrhea or whatever else you have start to go away. And then instantly, as soon as you eat it, within a couple of hours, it comes back. So then you can decide, I want to stay away from this. Now, again, as a chiropractor, I want to get your body healthy. Not just from a structural standpoint, but from a chemical standpoint. You can control the chemistry. We can control the physical. And then if we have to fix your digestion, you usually need me to fix that too. So if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to have the opportunity to be your doctors. So give us a call or go to my website, actually, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll set you up a time to come see us. We'll check the digestive system and the nervous system. We'll do nutritional workup on you if you become a patient. And you can do all that by booking an appointment, drjoeesposito.com. Again, or just Google Dr. Joe. On the website, you can order Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, other supplements I have there, intestinal cleanser, immune boosters. My books are there, Prescription for Extreme Health, Eating Right for the Health of It. All there. You can listen to archive radio shows. I archive hundreds. This show and hundreds of hours of other shows will be archived on the website. I videotape live lectures. Hey, come out to my live lectures. Check my calendar. Love to have you come out to the live lectures. I lecture all over. They're a lot of fun. But if you want to make an appointment, go to the website right now, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Hey, folks, I got to go for a break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, thanks for hanging around. If you did hang around, if you're just joining us, glad you're joining us. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, and I'm glad you're listening. I want to make sure I thank you for doing that because I know everybody's busy, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day. We're talking today about health foods that really aren't, and these things can really mess up your health dramatically, and you think you're doing the right thing, and you're not. How about fruit smoothies? This one's a kicker. I remember years and years ago being in a mall somewhere. I haven't been to a mall in years and years. And they had one of the smoothie, little booths there in the food court. And I got one of the smoothies, and I said, man, these things are good. They don't taste like the ones I make at home. These things are amazing. How delicious. So I said, I wonder what's in here. So I looked up the ingredients, and was I shocked. Sugar, fruit juice, high fructose corn syrup, sugar. Oh, and I think maybe a strawberry was like waved over it or something like that. All right, I'm being facetious there. They offer a few nutrients, but that's where all the good stuff ends. So I'm going to give you a good alternative to this too. Whether you buy a freshly squeezed, prepackaged, or from a chain store, smoothies provide a sugar overload about the same as a milkshake. Wow. Now, much of it comes from fructose, which is the dominant fruit sugar. One study with 2 groups of rats fed high fructose diets suffered increasing glycation. We talked about several times the advanced glycation end product, when proteins and sugars come together and they bind to the connective tissue and prevent your connective tissue from working properly, which can cause wrinkles. But as a chiropractor, it's preventing your spine from holding its adjustment or staying stable. So that's a big concern of mine. It creates something called peroxidation. Essentially, free radicals attack and dissolve things, and it can cause other skin damage. Not a good thing. So a simple, easy swap. If you like your fruit smoothies, Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Those things are great. They're on my website, drjoeesposito.com. They're powders. Each one is separate. Powders, you can take them through airport security. Pilots, I see a lot of pilots. We're right near one of the biggest airports in the world, actually the busiest airport in the world. And so pilots, flight attendants, people that work at the airports, it's easy to travel with. I had one patient years ago, and she was, what a sweetheart. She had something called interstitial cystitis. And what that means is it hurts so bad when you pee that people have, oftentimes they said I'm sure it's happened too, but I've seen the blogs where they say, listen, I'm going to kill myself. Can't drink water because it hurts so bad to pee. And so they don't drink water, they dehydrate, it affects their body, they can't eat. And so we worked on her chiropractically because the nerves in the low back control the colon, the sex organs, and the bladder. So through chiropractic, and we did something called soft tissue manipulation, we adjusted her bladder. She got amazing results, and then she was taking Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And she was a retired woman, older woman, probably mid-70s, late 70s, and she loved to travel, and she couldn't travel because of her interstitial cystitis. So now she was able to travel again, and anywhere she went in the world, she would hold up the supplements and take a picture and send it back to me. It was so cool. And they were in Russia, and they were in Mongolia, and China, and Europe, and it was just kind of cool. That was her funny thing, kind of a thank you, Dr. Joe. But the Super Greens, the Essential Source, are awesome because they give you the nutrients that your body needs to make the body function normally, relatively inexpensive. They're powders. So that's an easy swap for the fruit smoothie. If you want to make it a little thicker, you can add a frozen banana or some frozen fruit and some coconut milk, almond milk, hemp milk, chia seed milk, and then grind it up that way. So you kind of make like an ice cream smoothie type thing. But just be careful with all the fructose and the high fructose corn syrup. Because this is a thing, I don't think anybody thinks high fructose corn syrup is a health food, because we're talking today about health foods that really aren't. But what happens is if you're putting high fructose corn syrup in your body, the glucose, high fructose corn syrup is 55% fructose, 45% glucose. The glucose goes into your body and is used as fuel. The fructose has to go into your liver and be converted into glucose to be used as fuel. In the process, you create something called uric acid. Uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. And as a chiropractor and a pain management specialist, I want to make sure that we get the people out of pain, not in pain. And so if you're doing things like high fructose corn syrup or a lot of fructose, you're producing this uric acid getting into the joints and you're fighting me. I always tell my patients, stop fighting me. Once the uric acid is in the liver, it prevents your body from producing something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation. Well, you need good circulation for your brain, for your reproductive organs, for your arms, your legs, your organs. And so many people start to lose circulation to the organs, and you lose circulation to the nerves. The nerves control what? Everything. There you go. So you have to get the nerves working. From a structural standpoint, chiropractically, of course, we look for pinched nerves. But from a nutritional standpoint, I want to make sure the nerves have good circulation. And if you're messing with the circulation because you're eating fructose, creating uric acid, which prevents nitric oxide production, you're not going to heal as quickly as I want you to. That's why every patient that comes in our office, we offer a nutritional evaluation. Some take it, most take it, 98, 99% of patients do. Some people don't want to do it. I'm not going to change my diet. Okay, your call. Whatever you decide to do is up to you. I said there's two types of patients in my life, those that listen to me and those that don't. And the ones that don't eventually do because they see they're not getting the results they want. So an easy swap out for fruit smoothies, like commercial ones that are just loaded with sugar, is something like we just talked about. Super Greens, Essential Source, some coconut milk, frozen bananas, make it nice and creamy. And that's a good way. I'll tell you a little secret between us girls here. You can get kids to take the Super Greens and the Essential Source. Make a banana smoothie with it and let them drink it that way. Then they for some reason, kids love it when there's a frozen banana in there. So that's just a neat little thing. But you can use frozen berries. Berries are pretty low in sugar. Now, if you're going to do berries, I recommend you do organic. And the reason is that the berries have little bumps in them. And those bumps are where the pesticides and the chemicals can kind of set up shop. And they use a lot of pesticides oftentimes on berries. So please, I beg of you, wash them really well if they're not organic. And you can use something called a vegetable wash. It's a little spray you can spray on it. Or you can do about a half a gallon of water to about a quarter cup of raw organic apple cider vinegar. And the vinegar will help dissolve a lot of the toxins. And another thing, while I'm off on a tangent here, is apples. People think apples can be health food. Well, yeah, they can, but most of the commercial apples are dipped in wax. And it makes them shiny and helps protect them during shipping. Well, wax isn't good for you, but that's not the worst part. Many times the apples are sprayed with pesticides, and if you go to an apple orchard and pick them, you'll see many times they have a dusting on them from the pesticides and the chemicals, unless it's organic, of course. And then they take the apple and they dip it in wax. So they're sealing in a lot of those toxic chemicals. So a neat little thing you can do just to show yourself how bad the wax is you can take an apple and put it in hot water. And the wax will start to melt and rise to the top. Or just take a knife and scrape the apple very gently. And you could scrape off all that wax. So if you're going to eat the skin of a fruit or a vegetable, I'm going to recommend you do organic only. Anything that grows underground, I would say do organic only. Because if the soil is saturated with pesticides and chemicals and growth hormones, it's going to be absorbed, especially if it grows underground. So organic is always a better choice. It's not that much more expensive. It's available everywhere, not like when I first started this crazy journey 30-some-odd years ago. So grocery stores carry it now. But people say, well, it's a little more expensive. You know, I could buy 3 heads of romaine lettuce, romaine hearts, for $2, where the organic is $3 for 3 heads. You're right. That's a little more expensive. But when you start cutting out the bad foods, what I call the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. I know, that's your whole diet. But the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, you cut those out. You have so much more money, because those are the expensive ones, to buy healthier foods. Cup of coffee, cheap, $2, $3. If you like the fancy ones with all the sugar and a high fructose corn syrup, $4, $5. It's crazy. So when you cut things like that out, you cut out your fast foods. I carry my lunch to work with me almost every day. Now you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, you're nuts. I ain't going to do that." Let me tell you how I do it. It's easy. If you want to get a salad, get the prepackaged salads. They're in bags. They'll cost you about $2.50 to $3.50, depending. And they have salad dressing in them already. Don't get the ones with the dairy salad dressing. Don't get the one with the cheese. But there's an Asian mix that I like. It's $2.50 at one of the big box stores. And if you go to grocery store, I think it's $3.25. But it has toasted almonds in it, and it has a ginger dressing, which it has a little bit of sugar, but I'm not too terribly upset over that. But it has things like cabbage in it. Now, cabbage are high in indole-3 carbinol. Indole-3 carbinol can help prevent cancer or fight cancer. It has something called diindole methane. Diindole methane helps prevent your body from testosterone from becoming estrogen. Converts over. It's very similar in chemical compound. So you're keeping your testosterone levels up and your estrogen levels down. So that's good for romance, but it's also good for heart muscle and biceps and triceps and brain function. So I don't really see a downside to you doing this. Why not just do it? Eat the salads for $3.50, and you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to get in your car, start up your car, drive somewhere, pay the gas, sit in line, pay a tip. It's all done already. So you're going to save time, you're going to save fuel, you're going to save aggravation, and most importantly, you're going to save your health. Because as your doctor, as your chiropractor, I want to get you healthy. Now, whether you're actually my patient or not, you're listening to this show, so I feel a kinship to you. And I care about you. And I want to get you well, and I want to get your family well. The biggest complaint I get from my patients is, why didn't I do this sooner? I don't know. So we've got to keep the body healthy. Now, there are certain other things I'll give you some tips on, too, here. We talked about health food that really aren't, but I'm going to give you some other tips to maybe keep your stress in check and keep your body healthy. For a long time, a hard day's work or a tough exercise session, you just want to go home and relax. When you get there, kids are running around, lights are blaring, noise is crazy. That can have an adverse effect on your health. And when it talks about not just food that you're eating, but you're at the gym and you're working out, you got that hard driving music, which I know is motivating. I totally get that. You got that thump, 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 and you're pumping it and you're feeling good. But that can actually be some downside to that. If you close the door, sit quietly, play something gentle, some relaxing music, you can really lower your cortisol level. Now, cortisol is a hormone. It's produced in your adrenal glands. Now, the way the body works is this. Your adrenal glands produce something called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone converts into something called DHEA. DHEA, if you're functioning normally, converts into your sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, estradiol. Estradiol is a type of estrogen. Or it becomes cortisol. Now, cortisol is a stress hormone. We all produce it higher in the morning than the rest of the day in a perfect world. But the cortisol then causes you to lay down fat. It's when you're under stress, your body's thinking, well, I don't know when I'm going to eat again, so I'm going to store fat. So cortisol is released to help you store fat. And it really eats away at your immune system and can be deadly, too much cortisol. So if we're keeping our body quiet, we can stop the cortisol production. And a lot of the junk foods that we eat are chemically stressful to the body. And then as a chiropractor, we look at the physical stress to the body. And so we want to fix the chemical, the physical, the emotional. And now you have the healthcare plan. What do we call the healthcare plan I offer you? Come on, say it with me. Jobamacare. There you go. That's right. We got Jobamacare here. So turn down the volume if you can, even in the car. I know when I was young, I used to think, people listen to that, classical music. What a waste. But if you're stuck in a lot of traffic, if you're under a lot of stress, hard drive and rock and roll may not be your best choice. It's going to enhance that stress experience, raising your cortisol levels, leading to all sorts of inflammatory conditions in the body, which we don't want. Now, if you can, what I do personally is I listen to comedy on a regular basis. Now, with cell phones, you can get apps, and a lot of them have radio stations, and you can go to radio stations that just play comedy. Now, of course, you should listen to my radio station, the station you listen to now. That's the most important thing. But sometimes if you need a break, put on a comedy channel. Laughter positively affects your physical and mental health. According to heart researchers, 40% of heart patients are less likely than healthy people to laugh at various situations. So now it's a chicken-egg thing. Did the heart condition make you less likely to laugh, or is laughing less more likely to lead to heart problems? So when you laugh, there are opium-like chemicals that are released in your brain, like serotonin. Serotonin gives you pleasure. Dopamine. Well, serotonin helps you focus and calm down. Dopamine gives you pleasure. So when you're laughing, you're stimulating those dopamine receptor sites, and it's pretty pleasurable. Now, these chemicals give you a feeling of well-being, sometimes euphoria. So we believe this causes you to relax and your blood vessels then dilate. As the blood vessels open up, you bring nutrients to the body, flush out waste products. We talked earlier about health foods that aren't really healthy. And the fructose converts into uric acid. Uric acid prevents nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide production opens up your blood vessels. So laughter can actually work like nitric oxide and open up your blood vessels. So sometimes you got to start thinking about the funny side of life. Average child laughs 300 times a day. The average adult laughs 7. Big difference there. So folks, if you want to get healthy, I would love to be your doctor. My team of doctors and I would love to be your doctor. If you'd like to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, #1 Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll set you up a time to come see us. We'll do an exam. We may take x-rays if we need to. We'll check your digestive system, talk about your diet. If you become a patient, we usually use the diet. We can do it on the first visit. Sometimes we do it on a second visit, though. And the reason I do that is I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information. Because if you come into my office and I'm checking your nervous system, your digestive system, I'm explaining how the nerves control the organs, and you can get a little overwhelmed. I'll have patients sometime, I'll look at them, I say, getting a little overwhelmed? They'll say, yeah. I'll say, all right, let's stop here. Let's continue with the treatment, and then next time you come in, we'll pick it up. Because I don't want your brain just blowing up. So if you want to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com. You can do it online, or you can call us to set up the appointment. If for some reason you can't do it online, I had a patient say that the other day. They tried doing it online, and it didn't work. Just call the office. Don't give up. Sometimes things break in technology. We have to fix them. But we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We accept patients with all insurances. We accept patients that don't have insurance as well. And because the cost is so cost-effective, sometimes it's even easier not even to use your insurance. Because insurance companies, you know my feeling about insurance companies, if you're a regular listener, it's insane. So my concern is you getting well. That's my main concern. Because if you're well, you can work harder, make more money. You have to say, I'm going to cover this. Had a patient say the other day, my insurance won't let me do something. I forget what it was, like a surgery or something. So no, your insurance isn't going to not let you do it. They're just not going to pay for it. But this is your life, folks. Nothing's more important than your health because everything else follows that. So go to my website, make an appointment. You can order Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source there, my supplements. You send me questions through the website. I'm more than happy to help you any way I can. We want to be your doctor. drjoeesposito.com. You can make an appointment. So we're kind of continuing on now about, we talked about health foods that really aren't, and I'm giving you some other things you could add into your life. So you may have to develop some new daily rituals. I know in Atlanta a while ago, bridge collapsed. Burned down major artery in Atlanta. And so the buzz was, what are we going to do? Atlanta's drives everywhere. And so one of the fire chiefs came on and he said, listen, the bridge collapsed. It is what it is. We're going to try to fix it. You now have to develop a new daily routine. You have to figure out different ways to get to work, take mass transit, carpool, work staggered shifts. And I thought, yeah, that's a good statement. So if you're not healthy, your health is collapsing, you now have to make some new habits, new rituals. And our lives are really shaped around our daily habits. These are the rules we follow automatically. Like it or not, brush your teeth before you go to bed. When you face choices on where to eat or what to eat, sometimes people just default to the quickest, easiest, cheapest one that's on the way home. Well, this one's on the way home, and I can drive through the drive-thru, and I'm just going to grab that. Short-term might be a good idea. Long-term, probably not a good idea. You spring out of bed, you check your emails, you start worrying about the day. I'm guilty of it. I wake up, start my day, grab my phone. Did I get any texts? Did I get any emails? Did I get any emergencies? And so, as a doctor, I'm always checking to see if I have emergencies. But sometimes we have to break those rituals. One of the best ways to start out, start on the right foot, is get up and get your body in motion. So if you have stairs, walk up and down your stairs if you don't want to go outside. Give me 5 minutes. We have rubber bands that we can get you at the office, and you can start doing some rubber bands. I do that every morning. I wake up, I grab my rubber bands, and I just start doing some arm work. And then I'll do some leg work, and I'll do squats while I'm doing it. And I just kind of do it. I like to have tea in the morning. So while I'm heating up the water for my tea in my stainless steel kettle that's not aluminum, causing toxic chemicals to be released into my brain, the stainless steel, or glass works too, you can do that. If you're brushing your teeth, just do squats while you're brushing your teeth. I know it sounds silly, but keep the body in motion and develop some new daily routines. Once you start preparing your lunch and taking your lunch with you, you'll be amazed how much better you feel, how much more energy you have, because also then you have a finite amount of food. And I don't know about you, and I know a lot of you don't do this, but I'm guilty of this, is if I'm out, my eyes are always bigger than my stomach. Give me 2 of those and give me 1 of those. And then I have it there. I grew up very poor. My father was disabled from before I was born. First chapter of my new book talks about my father and growing up and living with someone who was deaf. My father was deaf, so living with somebody with a condition like that. And that was a stressful situation too. But when you take that stress off from going out to lunch and you pack things, many people just do Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source as a meal replacement, or at least for a snack. You know, I usually have some fruit in the morning and I'll have my Super Greens and Essential Source, but sometimes I'll shake it up and get crazy. And around 10 o'clock, I'll have my Super Greens and Essential Source. And that's amazing how much energy you get from that. I haven't had a cup of coffee 20, 30, 40 years maybe. And people say, where do you get that energy from? How does your brain work at that level? It doesn't work better than yours. It's just that yours doesn't work as good as mine. Does that make sense? My brain isn't special. It's just that I don't poison it. And when you stop poisoning your brain and start giving your body the things that it needs to function, you're in good shape. The body thrives. And it's real easy. It's not hard. Feed it the right fuel. Make sure structurally you don't have pinched nerves. And if you have digestive problems, acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, in my book, I have a whole chapter on it, or go to my website. There's an article. The article is free. It's called GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. And we talk about how the stomach can push up against the diaphragm, and we need to manually pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. And when we do that, the stomach starts digesting food. You start absorbing nutrients more efficiently. You start producing better neurotransmitters, chemicals that make the brain work. And now you have a step-by-step guide on how to take care of yourself, how to get well and stay well. It's not hard, it's easy. And it's so much less expensive than what you're doing right now. So don't be fooled by things like low-fat food. You need fat in your diet, but make sure it's not omega-6 fatty acids like vegetable oils. I don't do milk, but skim milk is worse than regular milk for a lot of conditions, even like acne. Vegetable oils, high in omega-6 fatty acids, causing inflammation. Breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, even if they're whole wheat, are still sugar. Fruit smoothies and commercial things that you think might be good or bad. If you're going to juice, don't juice fruit. Because with fruit, you have fiber, and fiber is going to slowly push the food through your colon and have other nutrients in it to help the body utilize that sugar. If you juice fruit or drink orange juice, for example, in the morning, what a horrible thing. You're dumping all this fructose and other sugars into the body, and the body can't handle it. And then it gets into the liver and can cause things like fatty liver. When I went to school many years ago, we were taught that fatty liver was caused by alcoholism. Now it finds out that it happens from sugar. Can do the same thing. George Michael, the singer, died recently. What did he die of? Fatty liver and heart disease. They called it natural causes. Nothing natural about having the body malfunction. Health is natural. Dis-ease, look at the word, dis-ease, not at ease. Your body's in a dis-ease state. Let's bring it back to a state of ease. Normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, good nutrition. If you're not willing to do anything when it comes to nutrition, at least do Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. At least start there. And once you start that, it's going to kind of get the ball rolling for you. It's like anything else. You know, you don't want to clean your house, but once you do a little bit, then you do a little bit more, a little bit more. Health is the same way. Once I get the first couple of steps going for you, it gets a whole lot easier. So read my books. Prescription for Extreme Health is my new one. Eating Right for the Health of It is the one that came out a while ago. Get the Super Greens, get the Essential Source. Listen to my radio shows, watch videos. All that's on the website, drjoeesposito.com. The videos and the radio shows are all free, drjoeesposito.com. If you'd like to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and you can book an appointment. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to be your doctor. Doctors. We have several doctors. So go to my website, book it right now. Stop procrastinating. Stop wasting your time. If you're driving, not a good time to book an appointment, but remember drjoeesposito.com, just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world. Set up a time to come see us. We'd be more than happy to have you come in. We accept all insurance patients. We accept non-insurance patients. We would love to be your doctor. We make it real easy for you to get well and stay well. And if you're outside our listening area, of course, we could always do phone consultations for nutrition. But folks, book the appointment right now. Get the Super Greens, get the Essential Sauce, get the books, drjoeesposito.com. Hey, thanks for listening. Catch you next time. 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 Catch you next time.